In the beginning, Hiddleston didn't want the part of Loki. Instead, he saw himself as another character. Hey guys, welcome back to The Binger. Marvel actors are among some of the highest paid, most popular celebrities in the movie universe right now, and it's only just heating up. We love everything about the MCU, but haven't you always wondered what goes on behind the scenes? Let's take a look at Marvel actor secrets they don't want you knowing. It might sound utterly bizarre considering how much Mark Ruffalo is paid to play the Hulk, but it's true. When it comes to hulking out in the movies, it's not all down to one actor. Of course, there's the CGI to make him look like a big green dude, but it takes two to make him sound right as well. Marvel brought Lou Ferrigno into the mix to get that authentic Hulk sound. For those of you that don't know, the bodybuilder/actor played the Hulk in the TV show The Incredible Hulk in the late 70s and early 80s. There was no one more qualified than this dude. To get that gravelly tone, sound editor Christopher Boyce went to extraordinary lengths. He used Ruffalo, Ferrigno, and even threw in a little bit of his own voice into the mix too. Next time you see the Green Machine in action, pay particular attention to the way he talks. You'll find a newfound appreciation for it now that you know how difficult it was to achieve. Marvel is all about the details, so it's really no wonder that they went the extra mile to nail this. It goes without saying that Chris Hemsworth had to work out a lot in order to get in shape for Thor. You can't play the god of thunder looking like you can't roll a pencil up a hill. Mythology states that Thor was a force to be reckoned with, and the comics just doubled down on that. Luckily, there's no one more committed to physical greatness than this Australian actor. As well as spending an insane amount of time at the gym, Hemsworth had to seriously up his calorie intake. With the help of his friend and trainer, he changed his diet to incorporate an impressive amount of protein. For most people, that would mean steak, and more steak. Hemsworth broke that mold and instead switched to a vegan diet full of beans and veggie burgers. In order to get the figure that he wanted to play the Norse god, he had to eat 6 meals a day, totaling 3,500 calories. Eating this much may seem like a dream come true for most of us, but when you think about how restrictive it is, it seems like a much better idea just to stick to fast food with the occasional salad. Ah, Robert Downey Jr. Every single movie that has come since 2008's Iron Man has been largely down to him. After all, if his performance utterly tanked, then that movie could have been the first and last of the MCU. As it was a huge success, and well, the rest is history. Now that he seems to have laid Iron Man to rest, we're left with sweet, sweet memories. RDJ is a largely private actor, but that doesn't stop rumors from flying around. There was a speculation for a long time that the 54-year-old actor had a habit of hiding food all over the set. In fact, anytime you see him offer a snack during shooting or he's nibbling something, that's a real snack. Sounds like just fantasy, but it was confirmed by one of Downey's co-stars on another movie. Vincent D'Onofrio let the cat out of the bag, telling the world about Downey's sweet food fetish. We can't blame him. Being too far away from snacks is enough to impact anyone's work performance. Better to have them at hand to keep the hangriness at bay. When you think about group texts, you might be reminded of the time your mom sent out a summons to dinner, or the time you and your friends had one of the most epic meme-offs of all time. Both of these pale in comparison to the absolutely legendary text Chris Evans sent to his castmates. When asked by an interviewer what the funniest moment was on set, Chris Hemsworth explained that it was all down to Captain America. Hemsworth said, quote, "He sent us a text that said, 'Avengers assemble at such and such a bar at 9 o'clock on Saturday night.' According to Thor, the Avengers followed Cap's orders and proceeded to drink each other under the table. The next couple of days at work were challenging, to say the least, due to the catastrophic hangovers. We already knew that Chris Evans was an awesome guy, but his text game is strong too? Some guys are born with all the luck, from interstellar genetics to acting talent and one-liners. Is there anything that this guy isn't good at? Answers on a postcard." It's difficult to imagine Loki sharing center stage with anybody else now, all these years later. The first Avengers movie was pivotal in setting the scene for the rest of the movies further down the line. With that being said, director Joss Whedon didn't think Loki had what it took to be the main man. Not because he didn't love the character, but because the Avengers were so kick-butt. He couldn't see how one man, albeit a god, could pose a viable threat to the good guys. With that being said, he wanted to have two villains to shoulder the burden. But Marvel didn't like that plan. They wanted someone they could focus on on entirely and not two big baddies fighting for screen time. Whedon was nervous about how it would go down, but once he saw Tom Hiddleston in action, all his fears melted away. Luckily for the director, Tom knows just how to nail the God of Mischief. He's a commanding performer and one of the most popular characters in the franchise. The very idea that Joss ever doubted Loki is laughable now, but this was a big deal. No one wants to be the one that messes up a movie of this magnitude. Ant-Man is one of the unlikeliest heroes in the MCU. He's just a guy, really, with a really impressive suit. Without the things he learned from Hank Pym, he's just your average Joe. Not that we don't love him, we really do, but we weren't the only ones who didn't see how he could fit in at first. In the comics, Ant-Man is one of the founding members of the Avengers. Given how Marvel Studios likes to stay true to the comics, it wasn't a huge leap to surmise that he would appear. Only he didn't. It would be quite some time before Paul Rudd's character would join ranks. When he did, he often felt totally in awe of the heroes around him, and is more like a kid brother. It was Whedon's decision not to include Ant-Man in the OG Avengers movie. Why? Well, he felt like they didn't need another scientist in the mix. Tony was at the helm of all the tech with Bruce Banner as his very able assistant. Putting Ant-Man in there would have detracted from the movie at that point, according to the director. The Hulk doesn't exactly look like the average guy you'd see walking down the street. In fact, he looks like the very opposite of anything we've ever seen. That's the whole point. He's supposed to be this otherworldly science experiment gone wrong. However, he's still human at his core, so although he's bigger than anybody else, the studio needed some real-life inspo. They called on Steve Rom, a bodybuilder and male stripper, to come in and model for the Hulk's body. According to Rom, it was like all of his birthdays and Christmases rolled into one. As a bodybuilder, there's probably nothing better than being affiliated with the Hulk. While Rom took care of the body side of things, Hulk's face was obviously Ruffalo's. It's really amazing what CGI can do these days if you think about it. They took a real dude's body and put it on a Marvel character, and it didn't even look half bad. We bet Stan Lee didn't see that one coming when he started in comics back in the 30s. Back then, they were just trying to print as many copies as possible while trying to make a buck. Samuel L. Jackson has been in the business for a really long time, like super long. This guy is so old hat at acting that he has his pick of roles. Sure, some are better received than others, let's not even talk about Snakes on a Plane, but he's an icon through and through. There's no one that could play Nick Fury better than him, which is why he's stuck around so long. In fact, Jackson is the second actor to have played the same character in more than 5 comic book movies. Hugh Jackman was the first to do it with Wolverine, but he made a little room for Sammy. Fury is the glue that holds the whole team together. He's important. Sure, in some movies he's only in it for a scene or two, but you can feel him there. Even if he's not on the screen, he's often mentioned. It's likely we'll see Fury crop up in a good few movies yet. The number is just going to get higher and higher, and we don't mind at all. The more Fury, the better. Bring it on. What can we say? We just love that guy beyond measure. Many of the heroes are just highly trained humans with no powers to speak of. War Machine has his tech, Black Widow had her assassin's training, and Hawkeye, well, he's good with his hands. In fact, in the comics, he can shoot arrows with both of his hands, making him ambidextrous. No one can shoot an arrow quite like him, but actor Jeremy Renner is left-handed. Playing a character so skilled is probably a little challenging. He gives it the old college try by shooting arrows with his right hand when he's on screen to stay authentic. No matter how he sends those arrows into hordes of enemies, Hawkeye does incredibly well. Considering he's probably one of the lesser-liked Avengers of all, that's a saving grace. It'll be interesting to see how his daughter gets along if she winds up taking up the mantle of Hawkeye. Just before the snap, Clint lovingly calls her by the moniker while she shoots some arrows. Is that a huge hint at what's to come in the future? Let's hope so, and let's hope that she's got a sharp shot. Tom Hiddleston plays Loki so well that no one else is ever going to do the character justice. He's part of Loki and Loki is part of him. It's set in stone. However, it wasn't always so. In the beginning, Hiddleston didn't want the part of Loki. Instead, he saw himself as Thor. He added 20 pounds of muscle for the audition, but Marvel wasn't convinced. They liked him a lot and ended up giving him the part of Loki instead. That's best for everyone. As much as we love Tom, he doesn't have the build for Thor. Even before Chris Hemsworth started bulking up, he was broader than Hiddleston, who's a pretty slim guy. The fates aligned and everyone got what they wanted in the end, so no harm, no foul. The duo works insanely well together, bringing comedy as well as emotion to the table. It's the best casting decision that Marvel has ever made, aside from Robert Downey Jr. Oh, and firing Terrence Howard and casting Don Cheadle. Or Brie Larson for Captain Marvel. Or actually, no, Zoe Saldana. Okay, wait, Chris Pratt. Okay. Well, it's one of the best casting decisions that Marvel has ever made. Let's just leave it at that. What was your favorite fact? Sound off in the comments. Before you go, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side.